Hi guys, today is a Monday and I wanted to leave a message for anyone who is also making plans for the week or for anything. Like, we have so many plans that we make, and I just wanted to share a few verses from the Bible that guide us on the planning process. So the first verse that I want to share, and this one is just, it's a verse that it's my go-to verse. It is my go-to verse. That's Jeremiah 29 verse 11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you." This was God talking to Jeremiah. Declares the Lord. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." In some other verses, they say plans to make you prosper and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. Now, when you listen to that message, it just goes to say that over and above our own plans that we may have, God already has a plan for you. A plan to make you prosper and not to harm you. But every day we come up with our own plans. So how does that fit? Our own plans and God's plans, like, how do these plans work out? Like, how does this process work out? So I'm going to read the second verse, which is from Proverbs 16 verse 83, and it says, "Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established." And then I want to read James 4 verse 18. So remember the question: how does my plans and the plans that God has for me, like, how can they coexist? And so I'm just going to go through a couple of verses, then I will explain my understanding on how these plans can coexist. So first of all, in Jeremiah, God says, "For I know the plans I have for you," right? And plans to make you prosper. So with these plans that God has for us, like, you can never go wrong, okay? And in Proverbs, the Bible also says, "Commit your work to the Lord." Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. So Proverbs is just saying, you can make your own plans, but after you make them, commit them to God, and then He will establish them. And then James 4 verse 18 says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit, and yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say," and pay attention to this, "If the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil." So, okay, this is a mouthful, but this verse is just basically saying that instead of saying tomorrow I'm going to do this, today I'm going to do that, it is important that we change the way we speak to, "If the Lord wills, we will live and do this and that." So you plan, but you then put your plans under God's plan, and then you say, "If the Lord intends." So you're acknowledging that God has got a plan for you, a plan to make you prosper, and so you put your plan under His plans. You submit it to Him, and then He will establish that plan. So when we are now talking, we are not going to talk in absolute. I'm not going to say tomorrow I'm going to do that, because if I say tomorrow I'm going to do that, to a certain extent, I am exuding control over my tomorrow. I'm saying, definitely. But listen, if we are going to be so, that's a lie. Listen, if I'm going to say tomorrow I'm going to do this, and then something happens, it means that I promised something that was not within my control. But if I say, you know what, if the Lord wills, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, then you see, I can never disappoint anyone, because basically I'm just saying that I would love to in my own personal capacity, but I do not have the power to ensure that tomorrow I'm actually going to be alive. There is someone else over and above, whatever it is that can plan, that can also, and that person, that power has got the ability to just, change the course of my life tomorrow. Understand what I'm saying? So if the Lord wills, we will do this and that. And it also says, for you are a mist that appears for a little time, then vanishes. And you see, if you are a mist, one thing that we need to know as humans is we do not have control over our ability to be alive tomorrow. And that's why this verse is saying you're a mist. You pop up on earth and then you pop out. And one of the saddest things about that, it was not sad, like our time will be up, but it's just said that we do not have control over that. I cannot go onto the table and negotiate with God and then agree on when I will enter and exit on earth. It's up to Him, really. So that is why we say, if the Lord wills. And then the last verse I'm going to talk about is Proverbs 19 verse 21, which says, many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. I think this one is just a mic drop verse. This then answers everything that we've been discussing. I can plan for the week, but at the end of the day, it is the purpose of the Lord. It is that first plan. Remember Jeremiah 29 verse 11, which the Lord is saying, for I know the plans I have for you. And so Proverbs 19 verse 21 is just complementing that verse from Jeremiah, which says, many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. So it's okay, honey. It's okay, guys, to just plan. Because the Bible also encourages us to have a vision, to have a plan. To have a plan for what we're going to do with our time on this earth. It has to be structured in a certain way. But at the end of the day, it is saying after we have planned, we need to understand and acknowledge that there is a higher power, the person who created me, the person who actually created me and put me on this planet, also has a plan for me. And it's not just a plan, it's actually a great plan, a plan to make me prosper, so as soon as I am done planning, I need to commit that plan to God so that He establishes it. He establishes the plan. And He establishes, and when I need to pray that He does not establish the plan the way I have presented it, but the way that it links with His plan. In the sense that there has to be alignment with His plan and my plan. And then He will establish His plan, my plan, through His plan. You understand what I'm saying? So that at the end of the day, the plan that I am aligned to at any given time is the plan that God has for me, because this is the plan that is meant to prosper me. This is the plan that is meant for my own welfare. This is the plan that is meant to benefit me. And listen, let me tell you why we need God's plan. Because God can imagine a plan that you can never dream of. He can imagine a bigger plan for you. And why? How is God able to imagine a bigger plan for your life than you can ever imagine for yourself? Because our plans are limited to our own experiences. You cannot plan something that is not within your experience and knowledge or imagination. So if I imagine that there are 4 modes of transport right now, And if I'm going to go from point A to point B, I'm gonna either have to walk, drive, fly, or maybe take the train, right? Because this is what exists in my experience. But God already knows another mode of transport, maybe that is being created right now in a specific country that I have no idea about. And He knows that 5 years from now, 2 years from now, a year from now, or even 6 months down the line, I am going to use a certain mode of transport that doesn't even exist. So what it basically means is He has visibility over everything that is happening on this planet. And if I am thinking about taking a journey and I plan around what I know in my experience, my plans are already limited because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Remember, we had so many plans before COVID-19 came. I'm sure God was looking at us like, okay, you know, you can plan. I gave you the free will, I gave you the intelligence, I gave you the gift of imagination. So go ahead and plan. But He knew that most of our plans were not going to be established because what we were thinking about when we were planning was within the experience of life in that particular time. No one could imagine that we were going to be stuck inside our houses and we would not be able to go anywhere. So if I was doing a construction and I was imagining that 6 years from now, that hotel or that business that I was trying to construct will be up and running. 6 months we were shut down in our own homes, not going anywhere, getting delivery services for food, protecting our life. We were in self-preservation mode. And none of us could have imagined that, you know, we would spend such a long time indoors. And not forced, but actually understanding that this is the only way I can survive this. God is looking at us. And He was looking at us, planning. And there is nothing wrong with planning. But it is important that we commit our work to God, and then He establishes our plan. And you know what? The moment you are aligned with God, you will see that there were people that were more prepared for COVID than most of us, because they were moving in alignment. They were moving in alignment. You know, and so when you are in alignment, your spirit is open and it can hear what God is saying in any given time. Like you have a sense, you develop a sensitive anytime that you understand that whatever I am planning, I need to submit to God first, and then He needs to establish that plan. And He can respond, He can confirm. You become sensitive to God's voice on that plan. Because the moment you throw it to Him, you submit to Him, and you understand that the language to sensitivity is to say if God wills. It means at any given time you are looking for God's hand in every moment. And you will definitely see when God says no, we ain't going there. You have planned that, it's not gonna happen. You will be quick, you will be sensitive, and that's what we need to pray for. We need to pray for discernment, we need to pray for sensitivity, we need to pray for eyes and ears that are able to discern what God is saying about our plans in every season. Thank you so much. That's what I wanted to say. Enjoy your day.